Guys, I was at 5-0 in week 14, getting to week 15, down to the wire in a few, but hey, we popped beer for 5-0 last week, so we pop some wine for 5-0
Wow.
in this week. And I just got a major wine kit, major Hanukkah present. I got the cutter. I gotta show it off. I can't hang out with people, so I gotta show it off virtually. I'm gonna cut that off.
Ooh.
Bring in the wine opener.
There it is.
How much was this bottle?
That thing is
bottle was basically free. Essentially.
That's a unit.
Oh.
And
down
then
in
I
there.
believe you just
bring it back.
I think you
Don't
just
tip it over.
Yeah. Nope. I think, geez, this is embarrassing. It was so smooth up until that point. There we go.
Ooh. Oh.
So,
Wow.
I pour this for 5-0 in week 15, making the playoffs, total 10-0, and hopefully, I pray to the fantasy gods themselves, we're popping something different next week. And if I was a good host, I would have had this ready, but I'm not.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Gotta find a way to drink with the. Welcome in, guys. Me and Dudes Fantasy Football. This is your host, Noah Opsfeld, for one final time this season. What a fantasy season we've had this year. Ups and downs, COVID, IR, craziness, reschedule, Wednesday night football, Tuesday night football.com. I mean, stuff we've never seen before. And here we are. Let's see a quote from week one episode from myself. There's no way this fantasy season happens. It's impossible with the COVID implications. I'd be lucky if we get through week 10. Fast forward, look at where we are now.
Here.
Look at us now.
Poppin' wine in week 15. Beautiful. But seriously, guys, final episode here. We got a really fun one for you today. Taking a look back at our early season predictions, reminiscing on good old times, and just, feeling that guys being dudes spirit, because at the end of the day, we are just guys being dudes. It can seem like a lot more. I'm going to take my headset off.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully the coaches that are left on the Lions staff are okay without me. Anyways, Patricia's laughing now, but we'll get into that later.
He's probably watching this.
Oh, probably.
He ain't got much to do.
Let me just put my wine kit away. Something I've always wanted to say. And but yeah, guys, before we start, just want to thank my 3 co-hosts so much this week. Put a lot of time and effort into the show, make it a fun one. And yeah, even though most of our viewers are in, another continent, it just makes me feel like I have people right next to my heart when I talk to you guys about what we love, fantasy football. But anyways, let's get into the show today. We have a great one. Any other thoughts on this point of the season? I mean, cheers to me.
I just want to reflect back on the year we've had. I mean, I think we've had a game every day of the week this year.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of us, we've come a long way on shows. We sang the national anthem of the wonderful country of Belgium.
True.
We've been through a lot as, these 4 co-hosts here. So I just want to, thank the other 3 for what a journey it's been.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just been ecstatic. I mean, if you think about, no one's able to watch football with anybody this year. You're kind of watching it for the most part on your own, enjoying fantasy, but having, this podcast, the listeners really created a good community for fantasy this year, and something that really helped a lot of people and helped us through it. And I think the show really took a step up this year with their gaining of a new host that I think really brought up the bar. And
yeah, especially in the DFS department.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. But I want to thank you guys for letting me be on this year, and hopefully in the future, it's been a blast, and I'm glad they had the opportunity to do this.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I mean, when I got with the media consultants about transferring to Zoom, they're like, listen, man, I mean, you got a great voice. We know Jared has a great voice, but you need some talent. You need some Zoom talent.
Mm-hmm.
Thought about who do I know loves football as much as us and would love to be on the show. And here we are. Now he's
got the best on the block.
Of course, he's in his Newport Beach house. Long story short, but just keen on things, just kind of how he rolls. let's get into some fantasy news. Starting off, I'm going to get through these quick. Starting off, Hunter Henry has COVID. Keenan, game time decision. This is an interesting status for Herbert here. If he loses both these guys, I mean, you're thinking about, I mean, you might already be thinking about Jalen Hurts, but that is obviously should be an option. And I mean, what about like between Hunter Henry and Ryan Tannehill versus Green Bay? Because that's an actual decision I'm going to make.
Between Justin Herbert and Ryan Tannehill, you got to go Tannehill. I mean, Tannehill's a top 10 QB on the year. Should be a high-scoring affair. You know, if Hunter Henry and Keenan don't go, the Chargers are in a tanking situation. That's what it is.
I think it's pretty easy there, honestly. Tannehill just because of the upside of the game. Mm-hmm. Miles Gaskin activated. Salman Ahmed maybe gonna get a more secondary role. Gaskin, pretty good start this week. Julio questionable. I mean, we've kind of played that little wide receiver game in Atlanta every week. CMC out. You know, I think this was an obvious one, but I just wanted to do a quick CMC reflection. I mean, he played 3 games this season. He was great in the 3. You know, won you a week, maybe once or twice, but 3 games this season. And, you know, I traded him away out in week 3 for Jonathan Taylor and some other accoutrements. But, I mean, that swap had me in like just a roller coaster. At first, I was like, this is good, then bad. Now, I mean, it might win me a championship. So just crazy season we saw what they
it goes to show you that fantasy leagues are won by luck, injury luck, and waiver wires. I mean, got James Robinson and people that you picked up week 1. I mean, yes, you have to draft well, but if you you can't lose a league in the draft.
Yeah, there's a lot of duds in that top 10. And even now going into next year, you got to assume CMC is the number 1 pick again. I will gladly take him number 1 again.
Yeah. You saw, you know, even with the change in offense, we caught the glimpse of when he was healthy, he was who you want drafted.
Yeah. You see with CMC, and we're going to get into a little later in the show, some of our year-end, you know, best players, worst players, surprises, busts, etc. But CMC is one of those where it's kind of an interesting parallel between if he's a bust or not, because in his 3 games, he was electric, really great for your team. But at the same time, you drafted him number 1. And you had that in the back of your mind. You had to waste a roster spot on him all year. You have that kind of every week. Do I pick someone off the waiver wire, or is CMC going to be back? And so that really factors into how much more it hurt to have CMC on your team than say Saquon. Saquon, torn ACL, you're out. You drop someone, and you're just in that mode of I need a running back year long. Versus CMC.
Well, I mean, it's a different scenario if you got Mike Davis, obviously.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, it was that kind of rip the Band-Aid off, it happened, versus, oh, like, the Band-Aid's still there, but we don't know if it's going to be this week, next week, the week after. And it really
but here you have George Kittle coming back, you know, obviously different situation, but, you know, it's interesting to think about. Moving on, Stafford, probably, we have a craziness going on in Detroit. So there was basically a COVID breakout in the coaching rooms. Now, I got fired, Matt Patricia. Darrell Bevell moves into take over head coaching. He's now out. So the head coach and play caller will be wide receiver coach Robert Prince. First time I've heard of him as a Lions fan. Apologies. And then we also have the coach. So basically there's coaching changes to the offensive and defensive play callers, the DB coach, the linebackers coach, and the defensive line coach. So, you know, what is the fantasy implications here? I think Stafford is not really a guy that, you know, he's still going to be slinging it. You know, if anything, they're moving more towards putting the game on Stafford. He might be calling some plays himself. So you're starting Stafford, you're starting Marvin Jones, but, you know, one team that I might be starting, probably rostered, but Buccaneers defense. Okay. The coaching out here just going wild. I think Buccaneers defense could be a great play. And then additionally, Leonard Fournette becomes that much more exciting as a kind of waiver guy with Ronald Jones out again.
What's the reasoning that, you know, the offensive and defensive coordinators can't still call plays? You know, can't they just call the plays from somewhere else? They're watching the game and calling the plays, right? Or like being in their own room?
Yeah,
like,
it's a great thought, far above my pay. As much influence it may seem that I have over the NFL, I really don't know much of what's going on.
That's why you got canned. You were thinking outside the box.
Damn.
You're trying to break down the rules.
Patriot way happens in one place. Anyways, Ronald Jones, like I said, out. So Fournette is like a nice RB2. Marquise Brown, Henry Ruggs, most likely out. We'll see Marquise Brown show up on the injury report again this week. Ruggs, I don't know why you'd be starting really any Ruggs or Aguilar against Miami. Kittle looking like he's going to return. Like I said, I've been holding on to him in 2 different leagues. So that's another one. I feel like the 2 guys coming back, Jalen Hurts and George Kittle, are like immediately in the top 5 conversation, right? So that's what we see when we talk about league winners, guys coming out of nowhere. And then Dwayne Haskins caught red-handed clubbing with the boys and the girls
with Jim Harden.
James Harden and Dwayne Haskins were just losing half of their paycheck running around
like
the club, but
it's really insane. It's so you see this sometimes with NFL players, blah, 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 but like just wild.
Like 2 weeks before the end, like you can't wait 2-3
like
weeks.
The amount of opportunity Haskins has got, and then just I feel
Wasted.
like, well, I mean, like I get some guys just aren't like leaders, like whatever your Drew Brees and stuff, obviously, but like, I mean, to just your team is in playoff contention and to just not
insane.
care at all. It's just it transcends to be many levels beyond yourself and the rest of the franchise. Just sad. I mean, there's so many guys that don't get their chance, and he's just obviously super talented.
This is why these draft pundits every year talk so much about drafting guys of high character who love the game. All they want to do is win and help their team win. And you see stuff like this, it kind of makes you realize, it's kind of an important deal. I mean, Alex Smith is now at practice throwing, so now there's a chance he can come in there.
I mean, there also is a chance that Alex Smith goes clubbing, and he could be then
you think?
I mean, I worry about the guy. He's a party animal.
Yeah.
Ever since that leg's back to normal, he's back on the scene, out there just doing his thing. But we'll see. Maybe Logan Thomas will get the start instead. Speaking of Logan Thomas, though, quick note is what Infinity targets last week for Infinity yards with 12 receptions. Crazy, bro. If Haskins is in, which it looks like he will be, then obviously you're starting Logan Thomas over a lot of guys. Here's my question, though. If you are going on COVID protocol because you were near somebody who was proven to get COVID in the NFL, how do they not put Haskins on the COVID list after being in a nightclub? It's literally, you realize these guys have, I mean, there's probably other reasoning behind this because I don't know the specifics of it, but how the NFL's been operating is you have you wear a thing and it can tell, based on GPS if you've been near somebody, and then that's how they have the COVID distance, rule where you're out. I don't know how that doesn't make sense. I think Haskins has to be out. Obviously,
It's so close to the end, they've stopped carrying.
Last bit of news: Kyle Rudolph out. So Big Irv could be a start at tight end. With the landscape. I mean, can we get a new word for the tight end landscape? One guy said tight end landscape, and now all you hear is tight end landscape. Tight end landscape. Tight end
dump.
Tight end dump. Yeah, it's more of a dump. But
the tight end landfill.
We have an interesting week this week. Game on Friday. We have a Friday night football, obviously. Friday night lights. We have 3 Saturday games, or 2.
Christmas. Yeah, I think it's
2. I think it's 2.
2.
It was 3, and then it became 2, and then
Sunday.
A bunch of Sunday. So it's interesting, if you were to decide between Irv Smith and a Sunday guy, and they're kind of neck and neck, I might go Irv just so you kind of have a better idea of what you're playing for. Last week I started Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen, put up a total of 14 together, and I don't know if it necessarily changed my decision, but I knew that I was starting out behind. I knew, and I started the week off before Thursday Night Football with a 20-point lead, and it was about neck and neck, right? So, knowing that is, I think, a slight advantage if you have an upside and a floor guy you're trying to decide between. A lot more fantasy news. You can go online. It's a great resource. Go there and figure it out yourself. But let's get into some dude and dud of the week. Guys, I'm in 4 championships, about to be in 5. No offense, Kieran. And I'm going to beat him in the semis in a week 17 championship league. But I cannot get dudes or duds this year, man. I mean, I usually get one, but damn, it's been rough. Derrick Henry, great dude though, so you got to give me credit there. But my other, assistant dude, Naeem Hines, pretty bad. Akers, top 3 running back, seemed like the surefire pick. But as soon as we put guys in the dude and dud column, it's just it's
mainly Mike and Noah though.
I feel like I've been reasonably solid on the dude and dud.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kieran is not great at real fantasy football, but fantastic.
But he carries the show.
Making predictions on the show.
I made the playoffs in all my leagues almost, and
Almost.
Almost.
In his defense, he had kind of like the who's who of early season, Mixon, Sanders in multiple leagues and stuff. So then we got Gus Bus with and Dobbins both score. You get 40% credit.
I get
there.
0.25 points.
Jeff Wilson Jr. That we'll take that as a dude. I played him as a floor play, and he played off for me.
70 yards and a touchdown.
There you go. Dud of the week, DeAndre Swift. Yikes, 20 points. Adam Thielen, 8 points. He had a tud and
8 points and a tud. That's wild.
That's a great dud.
Was it
That's
one?
A great dud.
That's a great dud.
It was like 2 catches.
Okay, we'll take it.
10 yards.
Devontae Parker, great dud. 0 points. Was he out?
Yeah, he didn't play.
He was on it. That's a great dud, man. And Chris Carson, with a weird second half of the season for Chris Carson. We'll hear more about him later. 8 points, good dud there too.
If Noah's gonna drag my name a little, I'm gonna drag his name. DeAndre Swift here as his dud. You think it's as bad as it can get. 20 points, 2 touchdowns. Lions fan voting against his own guys, but not to mention he fumbled on the 1 yard line, and Adrian Peterson scored a touchdown. So this dud could have been a 40-point dud, which might have replaced him on the show. So
it's a 40-point dud.
I just want to make that clear.
I didn't even know that happened because I did not watch any of the Lions games.
I was playing it.
I knew. I didn't know much about the other 2 touchdowns, but I did know he was going to fumble and give up a touchdown. So the thought was there. But let's get into some do's and don'ts this week. What do you guys got for me?
I'll go first. Oh. No, I want to go first here, and I'll talk about my dude, but I got to talk about something else first. And I just need to thank a franchise. I need to thank a city. I need to thank the state of New York.
Here it is.
New York and the New York Football Jets, Jets, Jets. And I need Los Angeles Rams as well, because Cam Akers, I picked him as a dude. He then shits the bed. The Rams lose the game. The Jets win the game. The Jags could potentially get Trevor Lawrence if they lose their next 2 games.
So does Akers count as a dude? Does he count as
a
dude?
No, it counts.
He's a dud.
He actually does. He does. A personal happy dude. But
beautiful.
If we want to talk about fantasy news, honestly, I think that could have some ramifications for dynasty players.
Ramifications.
Looking up. But anyways, my dude this week, Mitchell Trubisky, going against the Jags, who are going to try to do everything possible to piss away this game and lose this game. Also, Mitch has been playing well too. And the Bears offense as a whole with David Montgomery, Allen Robinson. Jags defense is it's horrible. So I'm speaking it into existence. I hope it doesn't burn me. Mitchell Trubisky, my dude of the week.
He's not going to burn you. Since he's come back, he's been solid as a motherfucker. And a good reason why is because he throws to Cole Kmet, my dude of the week. That's not why Mitch has been good, but I'm going Cole Kmet because of what Michael said. The Jags suck. There's going to be a lot of end zone targets going around. They'll be throwing it to everybody. Cole Kmet's a nice end zone target. You could honestly pick Jimmy Graham as a dude of the week, and you could pick David Montgomery. You could pick Allen Robinson. You could pick the entire.
Whoa! I don't know about slow down there, Jimmy Graham. Maybe not.
You're in some sort of offensive line league. Pick the Bears' offensive line.
Right.
Exactly.
Classic. I like a good punter offensive line league only.
Yeah.
Anyways,
for me,
my dude of the week.
I'm gonna go real fast. I didn't see yours in, but my dude of the week, David Johnson. I said a couple of weeks back when the whole wide receiver core basically fell off a cliff for the Texans, that David Johnson, when he came off IR, was going to be viable in the passing game. And you saw it last week. He had, I'm going to check my stats here, but he had 11 catches for 11 catches for like 103 yards through the air. It's just, Deshaun Watson's going to get it done. And when they don't have weapons, he's a better receiver than he is a running back. He's shown that over the last couple of years of his career. And he's going up against Cincinnati Bengals. You saw last week.
Ton of receiving and rushing for Benny Snell. Just looked really good after looking horrible against multiple teams. So I think David Johnson's
got a really good chance. And it's one of those teams where they don't have a first round pick. There's no reason for them not to be trying to win games, not to be, going all in for it. So I think that they're going to start trying to stay competitive. They're not going to be resting their players. So I think David Johnson's got a really good chance to have a good game this week.
Love it.
Sweet. And I started off the season and I adopted Anthony Miller as my son, and he's since been released from the family. And I kind of midway through the season, I talked about him and, did a little bit of that, did a little bit of that. But, I've fallen in love with this player over the past 3 weeks. And that's why I'm officially announcing I'm adopting as my new son, Rashard Higgins, against the Jets. Jared looks so disappointed. Rashard Higgins. Once I lost faith in him.
You can't make this up, man.
6 for 95 for a tud. Baltimore, week 14, 6 for 68 in a tud. Last week, 4 for 76. And the Jets are not a team to mess with. They took down defensive powerhouse Rams last week. And, obviously, we think this is a Browns smash, but the Browns tend to do really poorly against that top receiving option. And I think Rashard Higgins has made his claim up there. Okay.
That's good.
Dud of the week. Continuing on, Devontae Parker. The Dolphins just need to win this game right now. They're going to be running, with all their guys you just heard about, running backs who do well, get it done. And I don't think Devontae Parker, even against a Vegas tough, easy kind of Vegas defense, tough, easy kind of obviously, as you would describe a bad defense.
Just an industry term you non-fantasy analysts wouldn't understand.
Right, they wouldn't. They just wouldn't.
The tough easy is a tell-all for
Kieran, I think in such fantasy terms that I need someone like you to help translate to the average consumer. But anyways, Devontae Parker, I'm not putting my championship trust in Tua. He is my dud this week.
All right. Well, my dud is Rashard Higgins. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going a page out of Mike's notebook, taking whoever's playing Jalen Ramsey, and that's this week DK Metcalf. We saw what happened last time DK Metcalf played Jalen Ramsey. He scored, let's see, 3.8 fantasy points. So let's see if it'll happen again.
Yeah, I think I can jump in here. My dud of the week is Mike Davis. You've seen, I think he's the running back 9 on the year. So very solid year, helping a lot of fantasy managers get to the playoffs. And, week 1 of the playoffs.
Not really staying them.
Yeah, I mean, week 1 of the playoffs had like 27 points in PPR. But last week, you see what the downside is with Mike Davis. They have been kind of weaning him off a little bit, just kind of involving more guys, using Curtis Samuel a little more, Bonifant. I don't know what the other guys' names are, but they're not giving him the full deal like they were early in the season. And I think that everybody, including myself last week, are latched onto that 4-week stretch where he was a RB1, 30 points, 8 targets, et cetera, et cetera. And that's just not the reality of what's happening anymore with this offense. They're spreading it around. I just don't think Mike Davis is a must start. I think he is a can start and maybe should start, but lower expectations and understand that there's a good chance he goes 14 for 50 and 2 catches for 8 yards or something like that, which has been just a line that he's been hovering around for many of his non-boom games.
Like that. I'm going the quarterback that will be throwing to DK Metcalf, Russell Wilson. Over his last 6 games, 9 touchdowns, 5 picks. Last time they played the Rams, he had less than 12 fantasy points.
Russell Wilson, what a weird storyline this year.
I just think there's so many better options to play. If you have Jalen Hurts and you're trying to decide between Russ and Jalen Hurts, it's not a decision. Start Jalen Hurts.
Sweet. Love it. Moving on. Before we move into this week, let's take a look back at week 1. So right now on my screen, I got the week 16 doc. Just a beautiful doc, has grown so much. And then on the left side, week 1 doc, an ugly doc before all this happens. Let's take a look back at some of our season-long picks. This is going to be a fun time. Starting off with our fantasy storyline of the year, Jared's one was what the Buccaneers would look like. So, I guess reflections, it's kind of exactly what I expected, a little too many cooks in the kitchen, but obviously there's so much talent there that, might not translate directly for what we saw the Buccaneers receivers, for example, in fantasy 2 years ago or last year, but value there. Interesting with Gronkowski, Ronald Jones breakout season. Awesome. Mine was Patriots with Cam Newton. Had a great start to the year. Was the running back to own in New England, and definitely fell off there. But a wild Patriots season. It was like the first time since 1925 since they lost the division or something. Michael, Bengals offense. That was quite an exciting time until Joe Burrow tore his ACL and his MCL and everything else in his knee. And but yeah, a fun time. And then Kieran, quote, how bad will the Jags be? Will they win a game? Got that answer very early. Yes, week 1 against the Colts, who turned out to be a playoff team. Since then, doing amazing and played amazing.
I looked like an idiot at week 1 when I went on Guns and Plays and coming for Mike's neck, saying they're not going to win a game. They come out, shock the world, look freaking awesome, and I'm like, this is one of those stories that you just can't make up, and then proceed to lose 15 straight. So, you got to trust.
Not there yet.
and Mike said they were going to win like 4 games, maybe 5.
I think I came on in the week 2 show and just absolutely shit all over.
Beat the yeah. But I mean, Kieran, hey, like I said, spot on podcast predictions. For my guys, I had Anthony Miller, who was my darling baby, totally busted.
How'd he do this year?
Totally busted. He had a great week 1, 4 for 74 and a touchdown. I remember I was so excited. He was like a top 20 wide receiver. I think even higher. And then that totally fell off. Everyone thought I was a genius. Dak Prescott, who is the QB1 on the season, averaged the most points in the season. And that's what you want a guy who's going to get it done for you in those.
More than Jalen?
It's a good question, but I think so. Bro, he was averaging like 3. I think he averaged 370.
Jalen scored like 30 and 40 fantasy points.
But my prediction was very sound.
I'll run some numbers.
It doesn't make sense for Dak Prescott to not throw for 370 yards a week, and that's exactly what it did. James Conner, middle of prac, pretty disappointing season, definitely not a guy of the year. And then Marvin Jones coming back with it. Yeah.
Tough little stretch there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was an up and down guy. All right, let's go on. Jared had Jared Cook. Not all Jareds are successful, man. You got to, you might be, but others might not. Robert Woods, Robert Woods every year. Robert Woods gets
an okay year.
Probably a little bit down, but he'll be fine. Preston Williams. Yeah, that's a complete puke. And then Scary Terry, we'll say that, yes.
That's okay.
That's a good year. Michael, Deontay Johnson, that's the best one we've had so far. Tyler Higbee, nope. Josh Allen, another great one. And Tyler Boyd, yeah, we'll take Tyler Boyd too. So, Michael, 3 great ones there, really.
Noah, you are correct. Taking out Dak's game that he got hurt, so he played 4 full games, 30.3 fantasy points. Jalen Hurts in his 2 starts, 28.5. Kyler, 26.5.
There it is.
Congrats, Noah.
Thank you. QB1, baby. QB1. Moving on, we have Kieran with Josh Jacobs. Fantasy, yeah. AJ Brown.
Yes.
Definitely. AJ Green. I mean, hey, you can't get every AJ. That's what they say.
You'll get 3 out of 4.
Lastly, Kyler. Fantastic. 2 guys that you hate. Jared had Gurley. I think we'll say yeah. I mean, he was the RB8 at some point, so he kind of good fantasy season, but obviously ended it poorly. Le'Veon Bell, yikes,
disgusting.
And Mark Ingram.
Disgusting.
Great job.
But that's a do not draft. It was.
They seem so obvious.
They were very obvious.
Like you look at Josh Allen, you're like, we should have known this. But he was going in like the 7th, 8th round.
Well, that was what happened with me with Josh Allen. Is he was not on my radar. And then in 3 of my 6 leagues, he's sitting there in the 7th round, and I don't have a quarterback. I'm like, I have to.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he'd be going earlier. But it's interesting how things work out. Yeah. Now I don't have him on any teams. So there you go. Okay. And then mine were Mike Evans. Not really.
Fine.
And Aaron Rodgers definitely was a miss. Michael, Nick Chubb, that's a miss. And Hunter Henry,
Yes.
kind of. I mean, as a tight end, yeah, you kind of missed. Kieran Singletary, nailed it, and Rob Gronkowski, which was another obvious. Yeah, it's a miss. Okay, one QB outside the 100th pick that will land in the top QBs. Kieran, Jared Goff. Nope. Jared. Derek Carr. It's like a tongue twister. Nope. Noah Daniel Jones really missed in this one. And then Michael, Big Ben. I guess
12.
Michael wins that
He's
one.
on the waiver.
Why didn't we just pick Justin Herbert? Come on. Why didn't we?
True. Sophomore receiver roulette. Pick a sophomore receiver from that. That's gonna be fun next year. You know, we had a credible rookie wide receiver class last year and this year, and it's always that sophomore leap for a lot of the running backs, and it's gonna be really fun to predict who's the guy next year. You know, we're gonna see the kind of Chris Godwin breakout from one of these guys. But who is your sophomore receiver? Mine was AJ Brown. Smack got him in 4 leagues. Love it. Jared and Michael had Terry. And then Kieran had a Hollywood Brown.
Ooh.
And none of us picked DK.
None of us picked DK. You love to see it.
DK was too easy. To be fair, Hollywood has sucked, but the last like 4 or 5 weeks he's been really good.
Yeah, and he was drafted much later than the rest of the
on the year, AJ Brown 13 more points to Terry. So they're closer than you one might.
Well, but AJ Brown missed 4 or 5 games.
But when you look back at a season,
AJ Brown, I would rather have AJ Brown as
Well, yeah, no, I would too.
Of course, it's because whoever you're replacing him with those weeks, is still getting like 8-9 points or whatever. So, yeah, Terry had a good year, but AJ Brown's Terry's not a must start every week. AJ Brown is.
Terry had a great year until the last 3 or 4 weeks. He was a must start.
Dude, give him Ryan Tannehill. Give him Ryan Tannehill. He's doing it just as good. Tight end sleeper. Who's the next Mark Andrews? Jared had Herndon. Noah had Gesicki. Nice. And then Michael had Hayden Hurst. And then Kieran had Fant. I guess Kieran wins it. I mean, they were all drafted around the same point. Bad. Hurst was drafted a little bit earlier. I'll say Kieran wins that one. Bold prediction of the year. This is what you've really been hoping for. Starting off with Kieran. Brian Edwards leads all rookie receivers with points. And there will be 3 rookie running backs in the top 15. Was it who you thought it was? No, but Antonio Gibson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor, probably, right?
James Robinson, buddy.
Yeah, that guy. I forgot about him. Yeah, I think but it was only one of the guys in there was one you thought would be.
There were 3. It was Gibson, Taylor, and James Robinson.
There you go.
Clyde was 16.
I didn't name names for a reason. I knew it was a big class coming in.
There you go. Jonnu Smith finishes as top 8 tight end. That was Michael's. Really good in the beginning, but then
he's tight end 9 right now.
Fell off. Oh no!
that just shows
we gave Michael such a hard time for making it 8 and not like higher 4 or 5. Yeah. And it turns out it's still not right. And then Jared's Philip Lindsay outscores Melvin Gordon on the year. I'll give you half credit there. I mean, Philip Lindsay, because Melvin Gordon was actually decent. Okay.
I know. That's a terrible prediction.
No credit. All right. And then mine was Dak QB1, which was true. So I did have one bold prediction. Oh, Stephon Diggs, wide receiver 1. That's 2. And then Jonathan Taylor, rushing leader. I mean, how many can we find out how many yards he's behind Derrick Henry? How many does he need? I can go 3 for 3, baby.
Wait, no, didn't I have a Kyler Murray QB1 bold prediction?
Jonathan Taylor's not even in the top 5.
It's okay.
Jonathan Taylor has
how many yards?
He has 842 rushing yards. Derrick Henry has 1,679.
Okay, let me just. What does he need? Like 500 per week? He can do that. Or no, 250 per week. And Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry gets 0.
Gets 0. Okay, Derrick Henry trips and falls. Actually, I don't want that. Okay, after week 16, trips and falls, and 270 from.
I need him week 17, honestly.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe not. But dude of the year, I had Chris Carson. Started off great, went downhill fast. We have so many. I feel like we usually don't have this many half-year guys. Hot starts or hot finishes.
I also think that has to do a lot with, not necessarily COVID for sure, but this short-term IR deal that had people just, hopping in and out of the season, taking a little bit a while to ramp up, ramp down. So
and just
What
keeps
is wild
changing.
though is I feel like Chris Carson has played less games, like perceptually, than he actually has. He's played 10 games. Miles Sanders has played 11, and he's outscored Miles Sanders.
yeah,
It just
There you
seems
go.
weird. It seems like Chris Carson hasn't been around. It seems like he's played like 5 games.
yeah.
Yeah, Chris Carson was a big name beginning of the season, and then Jared was Joe Mixon, bad.
Oh,
Michael
Thank
Jonathan
you.
Taylor. Honestly, as a dude of the year, it's like, I mean, better than me and Jared's. I'll say that. Kieran, dude of the year, Kyler Murray.
Oh.
That might be the best pick
the true
from week
the
one.
true QB.
There is a lot of pressure on me for next year to choose.
Oh
the
my
quarterback
God.
one. I've
So
done it
just
2 years in a row.
well, let me say it. So
No,
you
you're
seem
taking
humble.
you're taking Trevor Lawrence next year. That's who you're picking as your QB1, Trevor
2
Lawrence.
years ago he picked
Lamar.
Lamar. This year Kyler. Next year the world awaits. Dud of the year somehow, and then we can play the clip back. Kieran said, "I'm not really sure why I'm picking Hopkins as dud of the year if I pick Kyler as my dude." But there it is, Hopkins canceling out the dud, and Kieran gets nothing. And Jared had
To be fair,
OBJ.
I said he finished behind his ADP, and he was drafted as the wide receiver 3, and he's
Oh
finished
my
as the wide receiver
God.
5. So
He was drafted as the wide receiver.
by 1.3 points. He's
I
behind.
didn't lie. I don't lie.
He
to
was-
people.
3.
He was
don't
The
lie to
drafted as
season is not over.
He
I
was
just tell
drafted
people
as the
straight
4.
facts. I tell people facts, and they listen. You know,
Also,
Don't care about your
PPR, he's ahead of
feelings.
DK.
and he was overdrafted for his
All
80.
right. Well, Kieran, the spotlight should be on Jared for picking OBJ. Even
Yeah,
in
I
the
had a
5th round,
feeling
it was a great one.
the stability of his knee was
He
lacking.
did have that one game where he had like a passing, a rushing, and a receiving touchdown or
He
something.
went off and
You
on.
had,
Like,
a, you had a feel. You had a feeling he'd take a shit.
and then the next game,
Oh
Baker
no!
had to throw that pick.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Anyways,
very sad.
and then Michael had Nick Chubb. Didn't you just trade for him?
I did because
I think we
He's
should. I
incredible
should
at
go back
football.
and just cancel out that trade, even though you're out of the playoffs. It just isn't right after all you shit on Chubb. Anyways, my done
he
of the year.
was drafted as like a top 10 running back, and he's running back 12 on the year. So all I gotta say, is,
Michael
Oh
loves these
my
year-long
God.
prediction bullshit.
I
Year-long-
do say though, Nick Chubb's one of the best running backs in the.
the
he's
real
so fun to
value is how
watch.
many
He's
points they
incredible.
scored over the season and not how many they scored each week. That's absolutely, Michael. You probably think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is good too.
He
And
is. He's good at football.
my dud was Miles Sanders. That's a win in my book. It was a first
Good
round,
stuff.
early second round pick, and I said that Eagles offense too much. You don't know. Okay. Super Bowl predictions. Noah had Chiefs. Jared had Saints. Mike Ravens. Kieran Chiefs. Let's see what we have now. I'm gonna stick with my Chiefs. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm moving from Saints to Chiefs. I mean, Saints could. No, it's the Chiefs.
I wanted to get bold and pick someone other than the Chiefs, but it's just pretty obvious that they're.
Well, here, let's change it. Who's your runner? Who's like the second team you pick? I'm going Titans.
I'm going Saints.
Bills. I'm taking the Bills.
Cleveland Browns, baby.
Ooh,
Let's
We
go.
have 4 different.
Wow.
Can you write that? Can someone write those down? That's a
smack
fun
that
one.
on the wall.
Smash that
I
on
don't
the
actually
wall.
think the Cleveland Browns are going to win. But
No, he said it. I have the tape. Okay, MVP. I had Dak. That one I don't think is going to pan out. We'll see. Jared had Lamar, probably not. Kieran had
Nope.
Patrick Mahomes, and Mike had Russell Wilson. I'd say Mike wins this one with Russell Wilson. That was a good pick.
Patrick
Why-
Mahomes is the MVP.
Patrick Mahomes
take
is the MVP, but I think Russell, in risk and reward of the pick, I think he.
So when the Browns don't win the Super Bowl, I'll win it because risk reward.
Bro.
Since I was
Okay.
If
No,
the
it's been
Browns
very-
make the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship, if they beat the
Russ isn't in the MVP discussion anymore. He hasn't been for 5 years.
Noah's been very generous giving out accomplishments.
fine,
No, a
you
little
win for
questionable.
being so bold and pitching.
Okay,
Packers
wait.
pick-
Is it Mahomes? I mean, you got Mahomes,
It's Mahomes
Aaron
or Rodgers.
Rodgers. It's
Mahomes
or
or
one of
Josh
those-
Allen.
I
It's
think
Mahomes or
Josh
Rodgers.
Allen's third. Honestly,
Rodgers,
I don't think
probably.
Josh Allen will.
I honestly think it's going to be Rodgers at this.
Yeah, I think Rodgers is actually the.
Yeah, I would vote. I would vote Rodgers. But
And then offensive rookie of the year, I had J.K. Dobbins for fun, turning out to not be terrible.
For
Joseph,
fun, I thought that was more than fun. He was your guy. He was your
yeah. All right. Well, I picked J.K. Dobbins and you picked Russ, but neither of us win because we went on limbs, and that's what dudes do. Jared and Kieran both picked Joe Burrow, which was probably the Patrick Mahomes of the debate, and then Jonathan Taylor for Mike. It's gonna be Herbert, right?
Should be James Robinson. The fact that he's
might be Justin Jefferson.
Not to go out on a limb here, but James Robinson not being in the Pro Bowl is just a damn shame. It's a
That's
shame.
insane.
Insane. Josh Jacobson is like 3.7 yards per carry.
That's
Sorry.
Buddy.
That's not right. And honestly, I think Justin Jefferson or James Robinson should be the offensive rookie of the year.
I think it's got to be Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I think Justin Herbert will win it, and he should. But like, if you're actually, I mean, he's breaking all the rookie records in terms of efficiency and numbers and stats. But I think in terms of like, just, I guess it's the same thing Noah was saying in terms of going out on a limb. But Justin Jefferson is like the second highest rated PFF graded wide receiver. He's like the most air yards, most separation yards, every statistic for how talented a wide receiver is.
Yeah. And I will like to say Josh Jacobs is averaging 3.7 yards a carry, over a yard more or over a yard less per carry this year than last year. Sorry,
It's never a sound system. We got to have an Ingram
Why are
in
you
there as well.
attacking?
Because it's just
buddy.
Because
right,
he doesn't deserve to be a Pro Bowler.
Well, he deserved it last year and they didn't give it to him. So,
well, okay, so you're going to give it to someone that's more deserving.
I'm just saying that's what the NFL does.
That's true. That's what they do. Moving on. Here's a fun one. Wow. If you're on YouTube, take a look at that Newport Beach sunset. Beautiful, Kieran.
Wow.
And the glow on his face, intoxicating.
This is what we went out.
This is what
talent right here.
Hey,
I'm pulling this clip up in the offseason, asking for my raise.
5 years, 48 million wasn't enough, Kieran. Come on, man. You gotta. He's trying looking for that.
He's getting paid.
That restructure. Let's get into a fun little game I planned for this week. I have the top 10 or 12 QBs up, and we have a guy who I think is 30% owned before week 16, probably owned in about every league this week, but you might be having a debate. Do I start Jalen Hurts or do I start the quarterback that got me here? We're going to move down the list from the top. Let me just get some quarterbacks up. Okay, let's see. Kyler Murray. Okay, we're going to start with Kyler Murray or Jalen Hurts. Kyler Murray against San Francisco, Jalen Hurts against Dallas.
Kyler Murray.
Jalen Hurts.
Okay, immediately off the bat. What about Patrick Mahomes, Atlanta, or
Mahomes? For me, it's Mahomes and then Hurts number 2 this week.
Okay, so Jared, you can just shut up now.
I know. I just wanted to get that out of the way. I do think.
All right.
Hurts
Well, just for the fun of it, you can say Hurts every time then. So Mahomes, we got everyone Mahomes, and then Kyler Murray, we got 3 Murrays and 1 Hurts. Aaron Rodgers versus Tennessee, you're going Hurts, Jared.
Yeah.
Rodgers.
That's where I go Hurts too.
Jared, you're pretty confident in this, huh?
Well, I
Hurts
just,
over Rodgers,
going into the week, like, is he actually going to be QB2? That's what my ranking.
Well, what I gotta say is, you're gonna put your money where your mouth is and bet Jalen Hurts over Rodgers with me right here. $10.
$10.
$5.
I would.
You would, Michael?
I think there is a better chance that Rodgers busts because they rely on Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams in the run game against the Titans than Jalen Hurts busting. And I never thought
I'll make the bet with
Hurts.
All right,
going to 100% be involved.
Let's do it, Jared.
And pass.
Let's do it.
10 Buckaroonies, Aaron Rodgers versus your boy.
Wait,
Jalen
so are you
Hurts.
getting in on this too, Mike?
Yeah, I'm in on it.
I'll
Are
do
you
it
on
both.
this,
Mike, I'll do it with you. 5 Buckaroonies. I'll take Rodgers.
Why not 10?
Is it 5 all over or 10? Or let's do
I think it's
750. That's
okay,
what it
I
is.
think that's fair. Jared,
A box combo.
750.
Give me Rodgers.
A box combo without the change. Okay. Then we got Deshaun Watson or Jalen Hurts. Deshaun Watson against Cincinnati. I'm going to Sean.
John.
Wow. What do you have?
Where's your
Hurts every
cutoff?
year?
I already said where my
Minus-
cutoff
minus
is.
2.
Who is it?
I'm
I guess,
after
yeah, you're
Kyler,
going-
in my opinion.
So here,
Wow.
just for now, I'm going to list through them. All these guys you're picking over, or Hurts you're picking over. We got Josh Allen against Patriots, Aaron
Give me
Rodgers
Allen.
against the Titans. I want Allen too. Lamar Jackson against the Giants. I want Lamar.
I want Lamar.
Giants have a good defense.
I just think it's no like slight to Jalen Hurts. If you watched that game, he was making these. I just don't think that 4 pass touchdowns is sustainable for him. First of all, I think he could have a great rushing baseline, a rushing touchdown, and maybe a pass touchdown, which would be a great game. But if I'm playing, you're asking me who I'm playing, who I'm starting in my championship.
Yeah.
I'm taking these known commodities over him. He's played 2 games.
Kieran, Tom Brady against Detroit, Jalen Hurts against Dallas.
That's where I'd play Hurts because I think that this Detroit game could get out of hand quick. And
I do want to say, though, if Jalen Hurts, obviously there's yards involved in his touchdowns. You take his 4 passing touchdowns out, he had 21 points.
Exactly.
Rodgers last week had 18.
He's still great, but I think that he played a phenomenal game against a team where they were running up the score and he had to keep going. And I'm a believer of I'm a believer of divisional games. Teams game script the right way. These games aren't usually shootouts in division. You rarely see divisional game shootouts, and I don't think it's going to happen here. What do the Cowboys want to do? They want to run the ball. What do the Eagles want to do? They want to run the ball. I just don't see it being a 75-point over/under game that is the same.
I could see kind of like almost a Taysom Hill stat line here. I think that they're going to be. I mean, they're still in the playoff contention, so. I give myself a 50-50 shot of eating my words next week. Good thing there's no podcast, but I think that he has a great shot of going off. I'm just saying my process to play these known commodities and my final. I'm not saying he doesn't have more upside. Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, they don't have the upside that he. I think I'm the lowest on Hurts out of. Here's who I'm going over Hurts. So Mahomes, Murray, Rodgers, Watson, Lamar. I think I'm on the fence on Josh Allen. But I'm on the fence with Herbert, but Brady and Tannehill, I'm playing over him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Why Brady?
Because Leonard Fournette's not that good. I mean, he had 2
touchdowns last week.
He also had like 45 yards. How many yards did he have?
Tom Brady's alternated between 23 points and 14 points the last 4 weeks. And I just don't see the upside with Tom Brady. Yeah, you might get 20 points, but Jalen Hurts' floor is almost 20 points.
Yeah.
I agree with Noah's list except for Tannehill, Brady, and Allen. I would take
so a lot of it.
No, I think the main the Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, and Lamar, the ones that we were arguing about, I take all 3 of those over Hurts.
Okay. All right. Moving on a little bit. Let's just get into some DFS league standings right now. So, just because this is the last episode, we're gonna call it Kieran taking home the trophy. This is our pretend trophy right now. It's the wine glass. I'm going to finish it for you.
Ooh.
There you go. Getting a little drunk on the show, but that's what the last one is all about. Kieran winning it with 24 wins. Michael in second with 20. Jared in third with, I don't know why we have Jared listed third there, but Jared in second with 21. Michael with 20 and Noah with 19. Rough. Let's get into some like and hate this week. The back-to-back champion comes into 4th place. Sad, even though Jared will contest that claim. Who do you guys like at their price, and who do you hate?
Okay, well, we talked about him a little bit earlier. Mitch, the bitch, Trubisky. He's under 6K still, and this dude puts up 20 points a week. That's what you get out of him. It's the Jags this week. He could put up 25. Gotta love it. And my hate at 6,800, James Robinson, not even practicing this week against the Bears. Can't do that. I feel like he's not even going to get 12 carries. I think he's going to get 10 carries at this point. If he plays, way too much money.
I like
Yeah, I do too. I think quarterback, I'm probably locking in on Mitch, but I do like the guy we just talked about, Jalen Hurts, being, I think, quarterback 6 in the Sunday slate. He's 7K. Russ is like 7.3. I don't see a reason to take Russ over Jalen Hurts, but and then guys that I hate, every tight end except Travis Kelce. You need to pay up for Travis Kelce this week against the Falcons. I see no reason not to pay up for Travis Kelce, especially if you can pair him with a lesser quarterback like Mitchell Trubisky.
Ooh.
Sweet.
What's your counter to that, Kieran?
What's that?
What's your counter to that?
I know I'm looking up my stats right now, but I'll go ahead. So my like obviously is against what Mike said, but I think Logan Thomas at 4,800 is 3,000 off or 2,200 off of Kelce. I mean, if you can make a lineup that you like around Kelce, 100% go do it. It's a definite boom.
I'm taking Logan, I think, at the price.
But Logan Thomas, I said it weeks ago that I picked him up in all of my leagues and I played him in all my leagues, and he's come through. He's getting peppered with targets. He looks really, really good. Like he actually looks good, makes acrobatic catches, runs after the catch. I think he's solid. And no matter who's playing at quarterback, if it's Haskins, he's going to get 15 targets, and if it's Alex Smith, he'll get like 8 targets. So you got a good baseline. They love to throw him the ball. I think at 4,800, it's a good deal, and a kind of a medium at tight end. And then my hate, we touched on it earlier, DK Metcalf, 7,800. I think he's the wide receiver 3 off the board. We've seen even in non-Jalen Ramsey matchups, he's slowed down quite a bit. Just in terms, as Russ has slowed down, we've touched on that. Lockett slowed down, DK slowed down. This whole Seahawks offense is slowed down, and I don't think the perception around DK has. He's still obviously an amazing receiver and can go up for that big play and could prove me wrong. But at 7,800, I think you can get a more safe option.
Sweet. My likes are Dave Montgomery, just an incredible, perfectly playoff, ending just like everyone predicted. It was kind of a common trend there to Demon's schedule in the playoffs. And Austin Eckler, both. Let's see, Eckler 7,600 had a pretty bad game last week. Coming against Denver, we have Hunter Henry out. We have Keenan Allen questionable. I mean, this guy's going to look like even as good as J.D. McKissic out there in the receiving game. So, and then we have, those jokes don't land when everyone's on their phones. And then we have David Montgomery as well for 7,700. Eckler for 7,600. My running back room is done. And then my hate is going to be any Steeler. There's rumors that Ben Roethlisberger is injured. They lost to the Bengals last week. We got the Colts looking for, a playoff spot. I am not playing any Steeler, even Deontay Johnson, Eric Ebron, whatever. So there you go. Sweet. Let's go into just real quick. We'll do we've been talking for a while now, so we can skip some of this stuff. Real quick off the top, not everyone has to talk. Dude of the year. I mean, I think I'm going to just take it. Dude of the year, waiver wire hero combo, James Robinson. I mean, what a fantasy season. It kind of reminds me of Alvin Kamara's breakout year. I mean, that level. Are we going to see that continued? But here's the interesting thing. In my Dynasty League, and I'm finally going to give up my strategy, and Kieran's going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't see this the whole time. I kind of did this on purpose, kind of did on accident, but I have Denzel Mims and Laviska Shenault on my team because who's going to get fantastic quarterbacks next year and skyrocket in value is first round Adam Gase-less Denzel Mims and Laviska Shenault with a new quarterback. So point being, James Robinson could be a guy who is here to stay.
I agree. I mean, James Robinson, I think he wins bounce back or fantasy rookie of the year and waiver wire hero pretty much hands down. But I think due to the year, I don't know if I would say James Robinson. I think Stephon Diggs, someone you got in the middle rounds, someone who's just so consistent, getting it done, has the floor and has the ceiling. It's like he's never going to do very bad. He gets 10 targets a game and he has the big playability. So I think he's up there in due to the year, along with guys, like your classic Derrick Henrys and Travis Kelce. I think it's between Travis Kelce and Stephon Diggs for me in terms of
Travis Kelce's a good
Those
one.
are the two I was going to pick. Stephon Diggs, I just pulled up a little draft ranking. He was in between T.Y. Hilton and Michael Gallup. Same.
Wow.
Devontae Parker above him, Cortland Sutton above him. Obviously, Cortland Sutton getting injured, but even Sutton's healthy. Like Marquise Brown, 29, 2 after Stephon Diggs. It's just crazy. And he's wide receiver 4 on the year, depending on formats, maybe even wide receiver 3.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Him and Josh Allen were perfect for each other.
Yeah. I mean, that was the kind of narrative. We keep seeing this. We've seen, DeAndre Hopkins to the Cardinals. Oh my God, Kyler Murray's good. Really good receiver. Diggs to the Bills. Oh my God, Josh Allen's good. So keep, that's a trend. And we look for those in fantasy football. So let's watch out for next year. See, there's going to be some great receivers going to good quarterbacks. And we've seen they become good. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Dud of the year. I mean, so many nominations. I mean, there's just, when you, the movie scroll, just like credits, just, with the song.
I think if you take non-injury duds out, I think a real case can be made for Lamar Jackson being the dud of the year. You had to take him in the second round. You had to take him in. Like, the reason you buy up for him was to be the quarterback 1. It wasn't to be a quarterback 1 in terms of quarterback 12 or to 1. It was to be the quarterback 1. It didn't. You paid up more than Mahomes, and Mahomes I think was a fine pick. You know, it wasn't a barn burner bust like the whole everything, but Lamar Jackson, you were passing up every single one of these guys we talked about damn near, and you just didn't produce. He's a quarterback 13 right now. For most weeks, you weren't happy with the production. The last 3 weeks, he's really showed, you know, that same amount of ceiling. But for the longest time, you were considering playing other guys over him each and every week.
Yeah.
Well said.
I could also see Chris Godwin being in there for dud of the year because he was taken as wide receiver 5. And, you know, he did battle a couple injuries, missed games early because of injury, but he just was not involved as much as I thought. He's probably wide receiver in the 40s, maybe 50s on the year.
Yeah. I mean, I think one for me is Kenyon Drake. I mean, had this crazy end to the 2019 year and just really looked like Kenyon Drake over the year.
I disagree with that one so hard. He's the running back 7 or 8 on the year. I don't know if you realize that. He's a top 12 running back this year. Yes, he is.
I mean, but on a weekly basis, I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is another one. I mean,
he's running back 14.
All right, so I don't know where you're getting those.
Maybe it was before this week, but it was a top 12 running back before
in half PPR.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You know, him and Clyde. You know, I tweeted out, which was a very controversial tweet at the time. Clyde Edwards-Helaire will not return first round value, and you know now who's laughing? So. Yeah, after week 1, week 1 was a crazy week. Let's get into a little bit of this or that over under. Kieran and Michael got Lamar rushing within 50. Okay, so sorry, I'm reading. I should probably think about what I'm reading before I read it. Good idea. Maybe I'll next week I'll do better. I promise. So, real quick
on this, I think
we'll just say bye to Jared. Jared, thanks. Yeah. You're good to go.
Thank you for having me.
If you want to.
We can romanticize this a little bit. It's the last episode of the season. We're going to rush this along. Thank you, Jared. Great season.
Hell of a year. Have to go to a Christmas Eve meal.
Absolutely. We love you, man.
Go get your ship in that. Go get your ship in that league. I mean, look at that
league,
boys. We're doing this.
I know it's gonna be tough.
Sacrificing time.
I mean, we're in 6 championships between the 4 of us. I mean, that's amazing, right?
It's pretty impressive.
So,
fuck you. Yeah. I'm in a 3rd place game too.
Hey, I still have a chance to chip, and I got into 2 semifinals.
There you go, Kieran.
Don't count them.
I had a league gift wrap.
Mike over here
under my tree, and I just got screwed because Noah let a kicker battle happen in his damn league.
This is the narrative you're pulling.
One kicker versus another.
Here he goes. All right, Jared, we love you, buddy.
All right, boys. Thank you for everything. Good luck in your championships. And
sir.
Damn, you're gonna make me cry.
Oh.
Anyways. Wow. Lamar rushing within 50 yards of his passing. Jared and Noah win. I don't know what we picked. I guess rushing floor. And then we have Tannehill 50 yards passing within Derrick Henry's rushing. And Kieran picked Tannehill and won there. And then we have this or that. So Akers versus Jonathan Taylor. Michael lost. And there was a few more as well. Let's go over under. Looks like Michael got.
All right, I'm going to read these. Noah's having a little bit of trouble reading these. Over under AJ Brown 90 yards.
I was not gonna read them. That was the point.
But you were doing a horrible job of seeding that away. We took
all right
to kind of mumble through them.
Thanks, man. Go ahead.
Hey, you got it. You got it now. We're gonna skip them. But do we want to go over them? Because now
just wanted to commemorate Michael for 4-0 in the over/under. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at the highlighted. Got some here or there, and then looking at our past few weeks. Jared 2-7, Michael 5-4, Noah and Kieran tied at 4-5. Let's get into some predictions for this week. We have none prepared. It's been a while. It's Christmas, guys. You got to give us a break. And for the 3 people who are listening this far into the show, I mean, what a ride. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It's also funny how like I always see people doing these over-unders or like more or less or whatever's, and you always think like, oh, I could do really well on these. Like just the process is pretty easy. Like they're gonna have a good matchup, good game, and it's hard. If you
It's
set the
very
line
hard.
like, right where it needs to be, it's like it's either really close or you're just totally wrong, and it's crazy.
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah.
struggle with these hard.
It's a fun one. I mean, so is the rest of fantasy. Just fucking.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to be
Who
over
knows?
500 in those. It's only one of the four we're able to do it. But
All right. Well, I'm so glad that you guys are just wildly proficient in podcast fantasy because I'm obviously not, but it's nice that we have complementary skill sets, real fantasy, talk show fantasy. So it's just beautiful. But guys, I think that's going to do it for us this
Real
week.
fantasy.
Congratulations, Kieran, on the DFS win. We'll see you next year. We might have a new name for the show because of, it's 2021 and, some things that are seemingly harmless can be harmful. Anyways, I don't know what that means. It doesn't mean to be passive aggressive at all. But thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to go finish my week 15 congratulations bottle. And like I said, hopefully you'll see me popping something different next week. Thanks, guys. But seriously, appreciate y'all so much too. Kieran, thanks for coming in and really boost. To be honest with you, you've never done much broadcasting before. I was a little worried in week 1 or 2, but damn, seriously, did you pick it up and just fit right in and just, really do well with the show? You were probably the most accurate predictor as far as giving the fans advice. So great job. And Michael, my rock for years. Thank you so much, man. What a fun time we've had this year. Just a fantasy genius out here. And for the viewers who were like, can't believe Michael lost that league. He shouldn't have lost. That was his. It was a crazy week there, but obviously drafted a great team. Did the Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor stack, which paid off. But and then personally, thank you so much. Great fantasy year for me so far. Hopefully it ends well. Knock on wood.
shout out AJ too while we're at it.
Michael, thank you.
Take it over, Noah.
Guys, sophomore year, I'm going to send him this clip. Sophomore year, so 3 years ago, I lived with AJ, and, I knew Michael and Jared, and I said, guys, we should do a fantasy podcast. I want to do this. Let's hop in my living room. So what we would do is get together during the Thursday night football game, which in retrospect doesn't make any sense, but it was a reason to get together. And there's a few good clips of us watching the games and just in the middle of the podcast. The most famous one was as we were saying, Damari Cooper was a bust. He went for 200 plus and a touchdown. But literally mid sentence, he scored a touchdown, like a 50-yard ball. And but we borrowed AJ's like a high-end mic that he used to make music to do the show. He put it in the center of a table, sit around it. And now we've come so far from that. We were Fantasy 4 or 5. Now we have another host. We're a new title. But AJ got engaged last week, and we had a running joke on the show. Shout out AJ for really helping us out in the beginning with that.
Shout out AJ.
But so seriously, shout out AJ. Kieran with the celebration emote. That's a Zoom legend right there. Not only bringing the looks, but bringing the emojis. I don't know how to do that. I'm a football guy. I'm not a Zoom guy. Look at this. I'm a football guy. But yeah, that's
pencil in the year.
Pencil. Yeah, that's gonna fall out for one more time in about a second. Pencil in the ear. Matt Patricia gonna get fired. Gonna go be defensive coordinator of the Jets. That's gonna be fun. But yeah, geez, it's gonna be a while until I get to listen to myself talk again, and it's gonna be hard. But it's gonna build character. Thank you so much, everybody, and always remember, just a bunch of guys being dudes.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
All right, bye. See you guys.